All right, this is our second tangle for the first class. It's called Hollibaugh, and I'll spell it at the end. Um, with this tangle, we learn how to make things appear as if they are falling behind, one thing is falling behind another. And so let's get started. We're going to start with the corner dots. Don't forget to rotate your tile. Stay comfortable. The pencils are a little small. Try not to grip them too heavily. Just, again, keep your hands relaxed. And if you have to hold your pencil a different way, just feel free to do that. Everything about this is really your tangle. So now we're going to do the string. Just like the first tile, we're going to just cut this square right down the middle like that, from one end to the parallel end on the other side. A quarter turn, about halfway again from the line we just drew and down to the border. With my PN pen, I'm going to start this tangle, and just a few reminders that this tangle can get complicated if you don't, at least in the beginning, if you don't make your first shape take up enough of the rectangle. Let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw a line from about, one side to kind of the other. It doesn't have to be at this angle. This is just kind of how it turned out for me this time. And then I'm going to pretty much aura this line, but I'm going to give myself some pretty good space. On this tile, maybe something along quarter inch, between quarter inch and half inch. Half inch is a bit wide. And then I'm going to turn my tile a little bit, and I'm going to start my second shape on here, my second pattern. And I'm going to start, and I'm just going to start a line, and I'm going to stop when I intersect the first line on my first pattern. I'm going to kind of lift my pen, but I'm going to come over to the other side on the other edge of that pattern, and I'm just going to put my pen down and draw a line to the border. And then I'm going to aura those two lines. I'm going to turn my tile, and I'm feeling like I want it to feel kind of, up and down underneath. So I'm going to start at this edge over here, and I'm going to angle my pattern over to about that corner. And so I'm going to draw from the border to the first line of my that I intersect, and then jump over, join the second line, and go to the border again. I'm going to do that, and then I'll aura those lines. I turn my tile. I'm feeling like I want to fill this space and that space there. So I'm going to start a line right about on here on my border. I'm going to stop when I intersect a line. I'm going to pick my pen up. I don't see any place else to put my pen down, and I'm going to just put it down on when there's the space intersection to there, to the border. And do the same thing and aura those lines like that. And then I'm going to do one more that I don't feel comfortable drawing it that way. So I'm going to start at this border, and I'm going to draw it away from myself. Meet up with the line, jump over, start at the line. Oops, it meets another line, and I don't think I can make another line past the border, so I'll let it stop there, and then I'm going to aura those lines again. And for me, that's enough for that. So the second, the variation, the first variation on this, we are going to use the same straight lines. So we're going to start with our first plank or form in our square, and we're going to add maybe 3 or 4 planks. We're not going to put a ton in here. It's not a very big space. Let's see. I think I'm going to put one right here. They never seem to end up where I want them to. That's okay. Alrighty, so there we go with that. This one might jump. I don't think it's going to make that. Okay, like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our top board and we're going to come in about 1/3 of that width between the two lines, the two oared lines, and we're going to draw another line parallel or aura one of those lines relatively closely, like that. And then we're going to go find the other boards and do the same thing. So here's our board, about 1/3 of the way in between the two aura lines. And it does not matter which line you bring your next aura line in. It doesn't matter which one it is. Just choose one. It doesn't even have to be on the same side each time. You can mix that up. Right. And as a matter of fact, I think I'll do, well, it doesn't matter, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just so all of your lines then on each of your forms there should be 3 parallel lines. Between the two closest lines, then you just add little, I want to say hash marks, but just little lines between your auras like that. And honestly, if you did it in the big spaces, if you put the little hash marks in the larger space, that's fine. It's just going to give you a different sense of perspective on these boards. Different feeling of a perspective. And that is our second variation on Hollibaugh. Our third variation on Hollibaugh is going to be a little bit more organic. So instead of making perfectly straight lines, we're going to make a form that looks, and I'm thinking of a capital I. In like typography. So you kind of come, you make you start your line, you come in a little bit, make a little arch, and then you bring your line down like that. And then you start up at the beginning where you, on the other side, and you aura that line a little bit. You bring your eye in the opposite direction, you aura the center, and then you arch away. These arches can be tight, they can be wide, the centers can be really thin, the line in the center can be really thin. All right, I'm going to do one more here. I feel like definitely I need one right here. And those kind of meet up at the bottom. That's interesting. All right. And there are our 3 variations on Hollibaugh. You know, I could probably stick one more. No, let's not, so we can move on. So now shading. With the, we're going to start with the first one with the planks. You have your kind of your uninterrupted plank. And then on either side of that, you'll see lines that are broken. Where those lines are broken, where they kind of match up with your plank, put down a little bit of graphite. And you just do that wherever they kind of overlap. On the secondary ones, this overlaps with this. So I'm going to do a shape like that because that's the shape that's created. Don't forget to turn your tile. And then you can smudge that out. Like that. Okay. On our first variation, with the where the lines, you have put your little hash marks, your little lines through there. I just run a line of graphite right in that already, it's kind of pre-shaded area. Right along those little hash mark lines, and then I smudge. And then in this final one, we're going to do something called pillow shading, where we just take, it has not very much to do with our tangle itself. It has more to do with the form or the shape that we tangled into. And that's called pillow shading. Like that. The fun thing about pillow shading, one of the fun things about pillow shading, first off, it's super easy, but also if you would like to pull your graphite more into your shape, you can. So I've gone all the way around the edge here. I'm feeling like, I kind of want to bring, and if you use more of your side, you'll be able to get a softer smudge in there. I think I want to bring that graphite a little bit more into the center. So I have almost like a little highlight in the center of my form, like that. One more thing that you can do, and I'll move on to the next and final tangle for the day, is I'm going to color. You can color in between these shapes if you would like. It adds a lot of drama to this particular tangle. I'm not going to color the whole thing, but you get the idea. You can do that on any of these. And that's just one more thing that you can do with Hollibaugh. And just to let you know, if you're struggling with Hollibaugh, I still struggle with Hollibaugh. There's just something about it. I can't seem to make it look as nice as I think it should look. It doesn't work for me very well in the spaces that I choose. But if I go to Hollibaugh, I usually use this one. It's just a little bit more fluid, and that seems to work better for me. So, all right, the final one's coming.